For those who don't know me, my name is Marc from the Kusini Collection. I represent some amazing companies in Latin America, including Maya Trails, Tropic Travel, Todos Santos Eco Adventures, and Costa Rica Sun Tours. Tonight, we're going to talk about an interesting topic that we've had conversations in our dinner tables and breakfasts and lunches. Our industry has gotten complicated, right? If you just move on to the next slide. Traditionally, buying travel has been pretty easy to understand. You had your traveler that either bought from a tour operator or a travel advisor, and then generally they would buy from a DMC, and then that DMC would package all of that together, and they would buy from your end supplier, which are your boats, your hotels, your tours, and transfers. But now, thanks to technology, as Danielle had mentioned, and our tour operators or travel advisors becoming very smart, they're becoming more strategic in their business practices. A lot of this has gotten complicated. Some of them are bypassing DMCs, some of them are bypassing tour operators and going direct, and it's created this conflict. But yet, here we are in this room, drinking wine, breaking bread, and we're all coexisting, right? So this whole panel today, we're gonna try to have this kind of uncomfortable conversation, right? But hopefully we can come back to the reality that at the end of the day, we're here for one purpose. We're trying to send our travelers to Latin America, right? So to get us started, maybe let's start with a baseline. I'm gonna ask a question to Rob, Catrin, John, and Silja. Could you just tell us a little bit about your clients and what value proposition you offer to them? Starting with you, Rob. Rob is a travel advisor.
Hey guys, so as a travel advisor, I kind of have the unique position of my clients being direct, friends, family, network, referrals. My value proposition is becoming a subject matter expert, whether it's a destination, whether it's a demographic. So from my position, I need to understand the client just as you all do as a hotel, a tour operator, a DMC. And I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I tell my clients pretty openly, like, look, I'm not building the hotels, I'm not planning this. It's my job to understand what you need and then therefore match it with the right partner. So I'm in the middle. Equally, I have to make sure that they have a great time because they want to come. I want them to come back to me, and I want them to give referrals. So that's my position, at least.
Awesome, thank you, Rob. What about you, Kat?
Thanks, Mark. So I work for Latin Roots in the UK. We're a UK-based tour operator selling pretty much solely to the UK market. We sell B2B and B2C, and really what our clients and agents are looking for is the same, and that's ultimately expertise. We specialize in holidays to Latin America, so we really have to demonstrate our specialist knowledge, first-hand experience. We need to provide that duty of care throughout the whole experience on the ground, and ultimately, and really importantly as well, complete financial protection.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat. What about you, John, from Landed?
Yeah, at Landed, we strive to be creative. We're B2B and B2C, probably business to business is probably 60% of our business, 30% direct. We like to say, and I think it's very true, that we've never sold the same trip twice. It's all high-end, FIT. Latin America is our jam. It's our love. It's our passion. And we only sell what we know. So we're selling, and we're saying that it's all firsthand and by heart.
Awesome. Thank you, John. And to Silja, who are your clients as a DMC?
Yeah, well, I mean, we are tour operator, we're DMC in Chile. So my clients, or our clients, you can say about 85% are tour operators from all over the world, where the main place really is Europe, UK, rest of Europe, and then the States. And some travel agents, we are not working direct market. So that is a little bit the division of my market. And where we are very good on is, of course, the knowledge on Chile, on the products. It's not only me being the owner traveling around, it's a whole team. So we have on regular basis, we send the team out in groups, separate, so that really there is a good base on everything. And Chile is quite a big country, so it's a lot of work.
Yeah, awesome, thank you. I'm gonna pose another question, maybe starting with John, Kat, and Rob. John, how do you select suppliers in Latin America? You know, what's your ideal Latin America supplier? What's that like?
You know what? A show like Remote is so important to us because they've pre-filtered the DMCs that we're meeting. We're also spending time getting to know them and seeing them outside of an office, outside of a presentation. You can't really know people until you've had an experience with them. So these shows are super valuable to us. I'm looking for someone that I can trust, and I rely on that lady's intuition. My co-founder, my partner in crime for 20 years, and 28 years as a married couple, but Erin is extremely good at pinpointing the right people for us. And we're looking for people that are creative, that are responsive, and that are connected. Things will inevitably go wrong, and so I'm looking for people who can, when that happens, make the calls that need to be made to get things sorted when it goes pear-shaped. Trust is the currency in this business. We trade in trust, and I'm looking for people that I can deeply trust.
Awesome, thank you, John. What about you, Kat? How do you select your partners in Latin America? You know, what's an ideal supplier?
I don't think there's a quick answer to this. I'll do my best. There's so many things that we take into consideration. As I said, we're the specialists in the UK market of holidays to Latin America, so we really need a DMC partner that has that expertise to help us reinforce our position in the market and to help us to create those unique, personalized itineraries to each individual customer that we sell to. It's a really, really competitive market, more so now than ever. So creating that unique, tailored itinerary is important, but speed of turnaround is also really important. The reality is clients and agents will often get multiple quotes when looking for a holiday. So it's just a reality that the first quote they receive is often the one that they give the most attention to. So it's important for us to be able to deliver that proposal to them speedily as well. Pricing is important. We need to be competitive. It's not the be-all and end-all, though. Quality is more important. So it's finding that balance. The other thing that's really important to us as well, as John mentioned, is having that on-the-ground support when things, can and do go wrong. It's an inevitability in any holiday. Having that clear communication, empathetic customer service, and support that our clients have that reassurance. And sustainability is also a really key consideration for us. We want to make sure that we are working with our suppliers to help protect, preserve the environments that we're sending people to, having a positive impact in the communities. Really, it's finding the balance between all of those things. There's so much to consideration. So the key thing is really building those relationships and building that trust, which is what we then pass on that reassurance and trust to our clients.
Awesome, thanks, Kat. Trust seems to be the key word here, guys. And what about you, Rob, as a travel advisor, one of the closest to the end consumer? How do you pick your partners?
I'm going to reiterate what both John and Kat said. It's certainly trust. Being closest to the client, the traveler, it's kind of my head on the chopping block when something goes wrong and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I get a WhatsApp or a text. I want my partner to be proactive, and on top of that, knowing that they've taken care of it, whether it's a missed transfer, whether it's a weather delay. And while I'm an independent agent, I'm part of Virtuoso, and I know there's a lot of Virtuoso DMCs and hotels here, and I'm sure many of us have had the pleasure of spending a week in Vegas in August together. But honestly, I think there's been this movement towards moving towards these small bespoke shows and getting to know these smaller owner-operated DMCs and hotels where you guys have the floor to share your story because it's personalized and you guys have put blood, sweat, and tears into that DMC that you've built, your tour operator you've built, the hotel. And like I said, it's me, myself, and I'm a small business owner while I'm part of Departure Lounge or Virtuoso. It's my reputation that I need to withhold. And by doing so, I have to trust a DMC. I have to trust a hotel that takes care of it. Because if I don't, it's my reputation. I won't get a referral. I won't have a good client. And I'm like all of us in here, we sell happiness. Like, it makes us great to feel when that client comes back and said, this was a life-changing trip. I remember this. And, it doesn't pay the mortgage, but it's really, really good to have that feeling. And so, yeah, to answer your question, I rely on the trust, great partners, people who are personally invested in making sure I have a good experience because then I will go back to you again, and also my clients have a great experience.
Mark, can I say one last
Yeah, for sure. There's another mic there as well. Yeah.
Sorry. So the one last thing is, I want to work with the DMC that is small enough that my relationship is meaningful to them, and that is large enough that they can make my life a little better.
That's a great point, that balance. Thank you, John. Maybe a question, maybe let's start up with Ines. Knowing that you're on the supplier side, where do you concentrate your marketing efforts to find buyers that sell your products? Do you have different strategies when it comes to selling to tour operators like John and Kat, or do you have a different strategy when you sell to someone like Rob, who's a travel advisor? What's that like?
Absolutely. From our side, being at the other end of the chain, it takes a lot of steps. And that marketing planning for the year and the budgeting for the year is going to have a lot of pieces to the puzzle. So starting directly from the consumer. Now with social media and everything, you still got to keep on the SEM. You still got to work on your SEOs, but you also got to do your social media strategy and do your paid ads and create your blogs and host your influencers and so on. For direct travelers, going different angles. Our values, what our values are at Delphine, the culinary angle, the sustainability, the high hospitality, being real in Chateau. And so many different angles that we can attack them from. And then the different chains, links to the chains. So for the travel agents, nowadays we have all the agencies are running their own trade shows. They're not mini trade shows, they're 3-4 days. So from Brownell to ProTravel to Montecito to Cadence, Coastline and so on, we gotta be there. We gotta educate all these travel agents that are not so veterans anymore. We have the new ones nowadays as well. And that's the importance, spreading the word. But then, I love remote, and I'm not gonna miss it, and I'm always gonna be here. But then, all the other trade shows, they just keep multiplying. So nobody has all the chips. It takes decision to see where we're gonna put our money. And that's why it's so important what you have created here, this community. It means a lot. But then our tour operators, breaking bread together and connecting and knowing that when something goes wrong, I'm here for you. And you can trust that on me. And even if you're coming through a DMC, same thing. We are in Lima so well connected. Sharon, I adore her, and she is there for all of our DMCs. And so, just got to be present. I feel like I do my job at sharing the love, spreading the love between all the different links to the chain, and just got to stay on top of it. Ever evolving.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Ines. And Silja, this is a little bit of a tough question for you. As a DMC, do you separate the way you market to tour operators or to travel advisors? What is that like?
Yeah, well, I took a decision on how we promote and which is our focus. And there is a reason that 85% of our clients are tour operator clients. And so I'm a small company. We are growing, so we start to be a mid-sized company. We don't want to grow so much more. but we have the power to offer competitive rates and we just, for example, 2 years ago, we changed our software system. Now, seeing the changes in the market, I had to adjust my team, for example, the way how we work, how we do the services, which has changed. And regarding marketing itself or shows we participate, I'm for 13 years now in this business. So I've been to the big shows, the ITB, the international ones. I have done house-to-house visits. I've done it. So, and at the end, I totally agree what the three of you said. I think it's all about trust. And this is one of the things I really love about our community and our branch, that we are still humans. It's all about our connection and if we trust the other. Because there are so many humans involved in what we do, so we need to be sure that if I say, okay, this is what happened, I need to know that you trust me, and that's it. And then we sort out how we solve it and get it settled and get it done. And so it's all about this. And for me, it might be too obvious, but I just love remote. And I think it is a perfect combination of likewise-minded people from all of the different areas. We all want the best for our travelers. We want this coming back, okay, lifetime trip. That is the goal of all of us. And this is a platform where we can talk, where we can exchange, where we do business. We need a little bit longer meetings. Sorry for that comment.
You try.
But it is, honestly, it is the best. I'm not doing any other shows anymore. It's done for me. But again, that is my personal case because we are a smaller sized company. No, so for me, that is the version.
Yeah. Awesome, Silja. Thank you. Rob, question for you, being, once again, the closest to the end traveler. We talked about trust. Trust is important, but when you're deciding on a supplier for Latin America, how important is pricing? How important is response time? How do you kind of rank that in the value proposition?
So I was thinking about this, and many of you guys, and I'm envious in your position because you either know your boat or you know your country or a region. So as a travel advisor, I have to know Cape Town, Cairo, Cairns, Cancun, and Cusco all at once. Yeah. And we probably have travelers in every single one of them at any given time. I think I've got 4 in Italy right now. And raise your hand, travel advisors.
Yeah, travel advisor community, give it up.
If you're tired of Italy, raise your hand. So there's a lot going on in our brain right now. And yeah, it goes down to, again, not using the trust word again, but leaning on those who know a destination more. Like many of us have been fortunate to travel to places, or we'd like to specialize in a region. Or then again, there's inquiries that come just to keep the lights on, whether it is an all-inclusive or whether it's Italy or Greece or whatever, because Europe's Europe. Love you, Europeans. But yeah, so we rely on those who are going to help us, let us shine. They're going to find the hidden gems that, like, hey, we did this unique picnic in the Sacred Valley, or took you to a region of Brazil that nobody knows about. Because at the end of the day, travel has become brag-worthy, whether it's a community that you've shared, like, I've gone here and my friends, my neighbors, my family hasn't gotten to it, or you can post something on Instagram. So answering your question, it's all about utilizing the DMC, who is a subject matter expert, and a tour operator for that matter as well, because a tour operator will have a region, and again, if I'm selling Latin America, I might not know the difference between Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, or Belize. And so a tour operator will do a really good job and say, okay, your client wants to go to Latin America. They're thinking Guatemala, but they want the beach. The beach is not the best in Guatemala. We recommend Nicaragua for that. So they're going to take what our client thinks are best, and every client thinks they know everything, every travel advisor thinks they know everything too. So, yeah, and a tour operator will really help do that. The DMC will help navigate it. And even if it's something that's cookie cutter, whether it's a typical Peru trip that's rinse and repeat, it's get the stuff into that trip that's really going to make it shine. They're going to come home and say, this is an amazing job. So in terms of selecting that DMC or tour operator, it's having somebody who's really going to go that extra mile. And going back again to that trust word too, I trust you guys to vet downstream as well, like the staff you have on your boat, the guides that you're using within country. Because again, if you don't have that good trust, then something's going to go wrong. And again, it's going to go back up that ecosystem there as well. So, and these events are really, really great to, looking around, there's less than 200 people here, which is fantastic. And I'd rather do this than a ballroom at Bellagio any single day. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Rob. So I've thrown you guys some easy questions. So now I think it's time to throw some hot ones. Question for John and Catrin. So we talked about trust, but do you ever encounter DMCs or hotels or boats that market directly to some of your clients, like a travel advisor that you do B2B business, which in a sense you're kind of competing against them? How do you deal with all of this? Maybe Kat, you can
of
start?
course it happens, right, Kat? I mean,
John, go ahead.
yeah, it happens. If I want to be included in that chain, then I should have a strong value proposition. And if the buyer doesn't want to use me, I have failed to communicate the value that I provide, right? 24-hour on-the-ground service in the US and in that country. All of your restaurant reservations taken care of. Pre-trip explanations of what's going on. Consultations where we design the trip for you. Clear pricing, easy to purchase, and just the check-ins, the tipping guides, all the other things that we provide, where to shop. If I haven't proven to them, and the fact that they're probably paying less or the same price than if they pieced it together themselves, and they don't have to worry about the headache, and if something goes sideways, they can call me, well, then, okay, have a great trip. I mean, guys, there's enough for everyone. Yeah. We don't need to cut each other's throats. There's plenty. So look at it from a viewpoint of abundance and know that you're good at what you do and you're going to get your slice. Kat?
Yeah, that's a good message, John. Thank you. Kat, anything to add?
I agree. Yep, well said. I absolutely agree with everything John said, but actually, from a UK perspective, it's slightly different. It's much easier for us. From a travel regulatory perspective in the UK, you can't sell a holiday without being financially bonded. So travel agents actually cannot purchase directly from suppliers. Getting a financial bonding and getting an ATOL license, which is an absolute necessity if you're selling any holiday that includes a flight, which 99% of holidays to Latin America will include at least one flight. So you have to be financially bonded. So it's a much easier landscape for us. We work with a huge range of travel agencies, from independent high street agencies located all over the UK to independent home working agencies, and the vast majority do not have financial bonding. It is a very long, arduous, difficult, an expensive process to get this license. So it's necessary for them to book their holidays through us. That said, there actually are some travel agencies that do have the financial bonding, but Rob, you made my point ahead of me very well in that the reality is these travel agencies are selling worldwide holidays. They don't have the expertise, and even if they do have that financial bonding, they will still come to us because we are the experts. We have that specialist knowledge. So it's much less competitive in the UK market because of the travel financial protection, the European package travel regulations that we are legally bound to protect our clients under. So it makes it much more challenging. There's a lot higher risk for a tour operator, but it's of absolute utmost importance to our clients and agents that we provide that protection.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kat. Anything else to add, John? Okay, cool. Silja, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat here. As a DMC, there are cases where tour operators or travel advisors would often book directly to hotels, and this is something that happens daily, right? We have this conversation all the time. Someone like Rob or John or Kat are bypassing their DMCs, and at the end of the day, that's some revenue loss. How do you deal with this, and how do you win them back over? Is pricing always the biggest factor? How does that work?
Well, I think it totally depends. There is no clear answer to that question. We have seen it in a few cases where we took over clients, tour operators, and they were used to buy directly, and then we could deliver very similar rates, so very similar conditions, because we have great conditions, great relationship with our main providers, with the lodges in Chile, the cruise. So that is something which I can say I think 95% is solved. And then, of course, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to make all the bookings of a trip directly with providers in Chile, and the same thing all over Latin America. So it's a lot of administration work, a lot of banking costs, which just drives me totally crazy. We work so hard for our money and make the banks richer. So that's another point. And for me, it's just, we have to be good. And I think that is for everybody in this branch. If we deliver how we should deliver, if we come up, I'm very strong on the UK market. So it's all about insurances, backup, this whole thing. We're getting through tenders every 3-4 years. It's a nightmare, but it is a good nightmare because it controls every single step of our work. So I think if we can show that we are really up there and delivering in the correct way, there should be no reason for buying directly.
But it's happening.
It's happening. No, and it's totally fine. If we cannot convince that we are doing a good job, it's totally fine. And what we do, it's the same thing, and this is, I think, pretty obviously, because there has to be a difference in rates. So I have different rate sheets for tour operators which buy everything, or travel agents. That is totally clear, and that's the only version. But I think that is correct, I cannot give same rates to everybody. I think my tour operator, they would just kill me. No. That's true. So I think
So yeah, it happens all the time. So does that, maybe talking to a lot of the DMCs here, does that upset you?
No, I think, again, because it is just the way how it works. And it is not the normal common way, not in my case. Right. No, so there is 2-3 clients in my case where that is happening, but they are very well organized. So it's not, because it's then also starting, we had these cases, and this is one of the convincing points, that they finally start to buy everything with us. Because when trouble happens, we are on the ground. So normally the clients, if there is a long list, okay, for that product, you call back home. For that product, this was bought through the local tour operator, you have to contact him. So this is just a whole mess up, and really makes, for the traveler itself, makes it really complicated. And Chile, like so many other countries in Latin America, we have loads of natural disasters. I mean, just name it. We have, you can say, every 2-3 years, something really heavy is going on in Chile, and the same thing in the other countries. Earthquake, volcanoes, floodings, name it. Yeah. Pandemics in between. And then these are the moments where you have to be really well connected in countries like this. And you need to know who to call and who is there for you. So in my case, I have a great team in my office, that's the first thing. But then I have throughout the country a great team of providers, and they are so much more than providers, they are partners. And with most of them, I'm in contact with WhatsApp. So I remember the last flooding in San Pedro, which the worst day was on a Saturday. And on Saturday midday, Sunday in the morning, I had all my clients for the upcoming months solved, settled in different areas. And competitors, they were just arriving on Monday to the office and then starting. And my company was the same thing. I'm working with my husband. He joined 10 years ago. And we are totally hands-on. And I think, again, this is something what I see here on this show very often. Now that is, I know I need to talk to Erin.
Yeah, awesome.
So this kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, add something, Rob.
Yeah,
Go for it.
The struggle I find as a travel advisor, we're getting pushed in every direction too to book direct. And I mean, let's use Chile for an example. All right, so I have a client going to Santiago. Do I book the Mandarin Oriental because I'm part of fan club? Do I go through the LHW? So we're pulled, but then, back to Marc's original slide that we took out was the arrows going over to the client, there were dollar signs. Because at the end of the day, we're all a business here. So we took the dollar signs out, but I'm also cognizant have all you guys make money as well, and you are for me. So I'm pulled to hello DMC, hello tour operator, just book the transfers and the guides only. That's not a very profitable booking for you. And I'm sure most would appreciate when the hotels are included. But then again, do I go through a preferred partnership? Do I go direct? Do I just give everything to the client? Wrap it up in one.
Maybe before you answer, Silja, question for Rob. How difficult is it for you as a travel advisor to piece it all together with the end supplier? So if you're just buying from the end supplier, how hard is that? Or is there technology now that makes your life easier?
Yeah, it's difficult. And as the travel advisors, we all do it if we have something that's not an ideal budget, because again, doing it yourself is always a little cheaper, and we can piece together transfers, we can do tours, whether it's through Vider, Project Expedition. So there's ways to do it.
Is it worth it?
No, and we all sell our soul to the devil to do that. But
you just gave yourself the answer.
Yeah.
Just send me the booking.
Yeah, it's true. And
you guys hear that?
And
send your bookings to them. That's a good answer.
Yep.
Well, I want to just pass it on to Ines. Being the end of this, what is your take in all of this? Do you actually care where the booking comes from? Does it matter? Is there one that you prefer better than the other?
In an ideal world for a supplier, everyone would come direct, like direct traveler would come direct. We all like money, but, and this is a big but, especially us in Latin America, Peru, my case, being a cruise company, my case, I know that maybe there's very well-seasoned travel agents here that know Peru and know Cusco and know the Sacred Valley and know the train and know Machu Picchu, and they're gonna be on it. But that's not the case for most travel agents that are selling Italy and France and Greece and Japan with their eyes closed. Peru is a complex destination. And I know that maybe they're asking for a quote, first time ever quote in Peru, but then they're going to turn around and they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to my tour operator because I know nothing. I don't want to deal with this homework.
And how do you handle that?
Myself, I'm gonna drill them with questions. That very first connection is very important. Gotta read them well and get to see where they're at. If I have a seasoned travel agent that lives in Peru, Barranco, Lima, someone here, okay, I know they can do it. But if someone that has never been to South America, has never sold Peru, I know that they're going to end up making phone calls, going to a tour operator, if not a DMC. So to them, I lay it out like it is, and I say, okay, you might want recommendations, and I have my beloved DMCs, and I'd like to spread the love and recommend depending on what type of traveler they have, because again, they gotta know who's coming and what they're into and what is gonna be the right shoe fit. So that's my take. Just gotta respect and
Respect
spread
the
love.
chain.
And spread the love. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You know, we always come across instances where there's a booking and then it's being requested from 3 or 4 other tour operators, right? So it can get complicated.
That is the worst. When I have the most I've had, it's been 5 different quotes. Agent, DMC, tour operators, the direct traveler themselves.
And it's all the same.
It's all for the same people. And I just come clean and I tell. Don't make people waste time. Don't make all these people waste time, because we all value time. That's our biggest resource over here. So yeah, just gotta play it nice. There's gonna be uncomfortable situations. I may have had one this morning. But we can make it work. We can all be in this together and give and take. Yeah.
John?
And I want you to have direct bookings. Of course I do. You're getting that additional margin that makes you strong as an operator, so that I know that that product is safe, it'll be there, it's a going concern. Of course I want you making that money.
I love you too.
Yeah, thanks, John. And we've got a few minutes left here before we eat, and maybe just to wrap this up, question for everyone. Maybe I'll start with Rob. You know, how can we all coexist in this business environment? Just to kind of wrap it up. You know, as we mentioned, we all have conflicting interests, but yet here we are. We're all thriving. We're all doing quite well. We're sending clients from Latin America, but we also sometimes step on each other's toes, right? I know we've kind of all agreed on same sentiments here, but the reality is, outside, you know, we still step on each other's toes. How can we coexist in this business environment?
Yeah, this is definitely the toughest question. It's like we said, it's a community over competition. I mean, even among travel advisors themselves. I mean, we all
sometimes compete against each other.
Yeah, without a doubt. Whether it's margins, whether it's direct, whether it's for clients, even within our own network. But at the end of the day, it's like the saying, you know, the rising tide raises all ships. And our goal is to actually put the money into these communities, put the monies in these countries. And, you know, tourism dollars is well needed. And we've all seen the statistics of how many millions, if not billions of dollars, and, you know, tens of millions of people it supports across the globe. So we all work together. I think everyone has a place in this ecosystem here, whether it's hotel, operator, supplier, travel advisor, and then again on the complete side is the traveler. I mean, we haven't really talked about his or her that are traveling, but you know, that's all who we're supporting, and that's who we want to have these great members. We want them to come back and talk about Guatemala or Bolivia or anywhere in Latin America, because you know, the more people they tell, the more people that will come to these countries. So we're all in it to gain it together, and we're partners in this. And again, places like these, shows like this, it really supports a great community. So we're happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Kat, any last words?
No, I kind of agree with all of that, really. I was going to say that we all ultimately have the same goal, in that we are trying to promote this amazing destination to our customers, wherever we are in the supply chain. And I know very, very few people who only ever travel to Latin America once. Once somebody travels, they fall in love with it and they want to go again and tell their friends. So I think as long as we are all striving to put the customer at the forefront of any decision we make, there is absolutely enough business to go around for everybody, so we can absolutely keep coexisting.
Yeah. Thanks, Kat.
He wants me to go first.
Go ahead.
No, but I think really the main point is just to respectful co-working, respect each other. I think that's it, and this is on so many levels. And I got your word?
She had it lined up.
Sorry. I had no idea. No, but I think that is really it. Because there is enough. There are so many travelers around. This is... And, well, respectful and then have fun.
Yeah.
Respect and fun.
Cool. John, Ines? No, John?
Ines?
John.
You know what? The red light is flashing, so we're going to wrap up quick, and we're going to get you to dinner and all the other fun things that are happening. This is my 4th remote. We try not to come every year because we want it to be new enough, right? There to be enough newness, or that have been long enough since our last visit that we're really learning something, we're really adding value. But I just, as a buyer, I just want to thank the hoteliers and the DMCs who pay for this party every time.
Give it up for the hoteliers and the DMCs.
Like,
Yeah, thank you guys.
like the things we can give each other in a situation like this, the most important one is our attention, right? Our time. And each one of these appointments costs these suppliers, these exhibitors, something like $300 every appointment. So I just want to, you keep saying thank you for coming, or what are you doing? Thank you for putting on this party that we all love to come to. And thank you for these great experiences.
Ines?
On that note, let's all get up and just
Let's have dinner.
let's have dinner.
Yeah,
Respect.
thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you panelists.